In this video, I'm going to be going over the best ways to farm trait rerolls in Anime Last Stand as of the new JJK update. Some of the methods I'll mention in this video have helped me make over 200 rerolls while completely AFK while I sleep, so it gets pretty crazy. If you enjoyed the video, maybe leave a like or subscribe. I don't want to be that guy, but less than 10% of you watching are actually subbed, so make sure you check if you're subscribed to keep up with the latest ALS news and just some other fun content. Anyways, let's get into it. The first things I want to talk about are going to be what I call passive methods. So what I mean by that is these are pretty much things that you don't really have to worry about or do on purpose, they just kind of happen over time. So one example of this is going to be the Battle Pass. This is going to have a bunch of rewards, including rerolls every few tiers. And this just kind of happens when you get kills on any enemy, so just while you run any stage. It doesn't really matter. You don't need to go out of your way to farm these, but the Battle Pass and then a quest are both passive methods, where you can get rerolls for pretty much just playing the game. Another thing worth mentioning is codes. Now these aren't really passive, you do have to go out of your way to actually redeem them, but if you want to get all the new codes and stuff, maybe join my Discord, link in the description, with a bunch of ALS channels like team rating, trading, and all that fun stuff, and every single code that comes out. So yeah, codes are a great way of getting rerolls from time to time. Moving on to things that you actually have to farm on purpose, we first have challenges, and this is going to be my least favorite method, and in my opinion the worst, because it just takes the longest. You pretty much get like up to 1 or 2 rerolls every 2 or 3 runs. I don't know, the rate is pretty bad, and I don't think challenges are worth doing unless you need any of the evolution items. And even then, they did add trading now, so you can just kind of trade any evolution item you might need from challenges, for example, Cursed Fingers or 6 Eyes. Otherwise, yeah, challenges, not really good for rerolls. Then we have raids, which I think it's important that you know what to do for raids, because there are a bunch of different things for them. All the raids have different drop chances, which I'll go over now. The drop chances for every raid can be found on the official ALS wiki. Of course, every raid has their own evolution items and units that can drop, but we're mostly focused on the rerolls today. So starting with Marineford, we have a 30% chance of up to 2 to 3 rerolls from stage 6. Moving on to Hell City, we have the same chance of rerolls from stage 6. Then moving on to Snowy Capital, we actually move up, and instead of getting 2 to 3 with a 30% chance, we get 3 to 5, which is actually a lot more. And then finally, Leaf Village, we have up to 4 to 5 rerolls with a 33% chance. So Leaf Village is actually a lot better than the other options. It's guaranteed that if you were to get rerolls with the 33% chance activating, you would get at least 4, whereas Snowy Capital is the next best, where you'd at least get 3 with a 30% chance. But yeah, that's every raid and their drop chances, and apart from that, they all have the boosted 3 daily attempts, where they all pretty much can give you 4 to 5 rerolls guaranteed if you do them 3 times per day. Raids are my favorite way to get rerolls, I'll talk more about that later, but a couple other options worth mentioning are Infinite and Infinity Castle. So Infinite, I have a whole other video on that, and they really aren't that good. For like 90 waves you get only 2 rerolls, or at least that's what I found, so it's not really worth it. Then Infinity Castle, you get pretty much 1 reroll every 5 rooms, so if you clear the 100 rooms to get the limited time unit, you would get 20 rerolls on top of the bonuses you get for reaching room 90, room 60, and then room 20. So it'd be a total of about 65 rerolls, which is pretty good. I think that is pretty nice right there. Now for you really dedicated players, Infinites can actually be worth it, because they recently did add the leaderboard feature, which wasn't in the game before. But if you can get the top 10 on the new Shibuya leaderboard, you will get 200 rerolls by the time the season ends, which is really, really good. So yeah, Infinites can be worth it. Just you have to be strong enough to get on the leaderboard, because top 11 through 25 will still get 150, and then you can of course get 200, which is not bad at all. Now I said that raids are my favorite way to farm rerolls, and that we talk more about that, and now we're going to talk more about that. That's pretty much every method gone over, so we'll go more in depth on raids now, and how I like to AFK farm them using Tiny Task. So if you need Tiny Task, I'll have a link in the description. And sorry to you mobile players or console players that can't AFK farm with this, but yeah, I went over the methods that you can manually farm. Now I'm just going to go over how I like to AFK farm, and this makes me above 200 rerolls per night, which is really, really crazy. Now we established earlier that Leaf Village Act 6 is going to be the best raid for rerolls, so that is of course the stage that I farm, but I do have macros in my Discord server for every raid. If you struggle with Leaf Village, you can also try Marineford, Hell City, and Snowy Capital, because these are pretty good too. But here's how I AFK farm at Leaf Village stage 6 with my custom team to make above 200 rerolls per night. So if you want to follow along, make sure you get Tiny Task, link in the description, then I'll go over my settings and everything in the next little segment. So for AFK farming at Leaf Village, you of course want to use a different team than me, because you will not have my exact units, but here are what I use. I use my glitch Shadow Tanker, my glitch Tatsumaki, and my Avatar Pride, and then my farm of course. For Tiny Task, you want to make sure your settings look like mine. You want to have always on top checked, continuous playback checked, play speed on 1x, and then your recording and playback hotkeys don't really matter. Mine are F8 to start the recording and Ctrl-Shift-Alt-P to start the playback. You also want to make sure your in-game settings have auto skip on and then auto speed vote on. So with all those settings out of the way and the team set up, I'll show you guys how I record my macros to overnight farm a Leaf Village on Act 6. So for this macro, I'm just going to record my entire process of clearing the stage, start to finish, and then the next stage. So I'm going to start the recording when the stop timer hits 5 seconds, and the reason I do that is to make sure that the macro actually lines up when I start and stop at the same time. So I'm going to start the recording when that top timer is at 5, and I'm going to stop the recording in the next run when the top timer is at 5. Anyways, I'm going to start by placing my green Esper down, and you want to make sure with Tiny Task that anything you do, you repeat over and over a few times just to make sure that if you lag, it'll still go through. Next, I'm going to place my Businessman Yojin. And my Benny Maru. I'm just going to upgrade all my units, starting with my farm. And then my Tatsumaki a little bit. And yeah, I just need to upgrade all my units until I clear the stage, and I'll show you what to do after you kill the boss. So that entire process took me just under 4 minutes on the Tiny Task. Now I'm going to wait until it hits like 4:05, about 10 to 15 seconds after I cleared the stage, to make sure that if I took longer to clear it for some reason, I still have time to retry. So at 4:05, I'm going to start clicking the retry button. I'm just going to spam it through the entire loading screen. And then I'm going to wait until the top timer is at 5 seconds, because that's when we started the recording. That's when I'll stop it. So I'm going to stop it right about now. Then I'm going to save it as Act 6 Leaf Custom. There we go. So now, anytime I want to farm rerolls, I'll just hop in Leaf Village, and I'll make sure that my settings look right. And if so, I'll start the recording when that top timer hits 5 seconds. And now for this part of the video, I'll just show you guys that the macro actually loops. So that's pretty much all for how to farm rerolls and how I AFK farm mine. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video or that it helped you, but thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, hope to see you in the next one, and have a great day.